Welcome to my channel, your go-to place for improving your English listening skills in a fun and effective way. Let's make learning English easier, one step at a time. I hope this postcard finds you well, with your heart light and your days full of sunshine. I'm writing this from a little cafe tucked away on a cobbled street, where the smell of fresh coffee mingles with the distant hum of street musicians. It's the kind of place where time slows down, and for once I let it. This trip has been everything I hoped for and more. I've walked through cities that wear their history like jewelry, ancient, proud, and beautifully worn. Each street has a story, and every turn reveals something new. I started my journey in Florence, where art meets the soul. Standing in front of Michelangelo's David, I wasn't just looking at a sculpture. I was looking at centuries of passion, pain, and perfection captured in stone. From there, I hopped on a train to the Swiss Alps. Can I just say, I've never seen snow sparkle like that before. It was like nature dipped the world in glitter. I stood on a mountaintop, the cold biting at my nose, and I felt so incredibly small, but in the best way. Like I was part of something much bigger. And in that moment, the worries I carried, about life, about decisions, about things I can't control, just melted away. One of the most magical moments happened in a quiet village in southern France. I got lost, as always, and stumbled upon a tiny vineyard run by an elderly couple. They didn't speak much English, and I only knew a few words in French, but somehow we understood each other. They invited me to join their family dinner, fresh bread, homemade wine, and laughter that needed no translation. It reminded me that kindness is a universal language, and strangers aren't always strangers for long. I also took a few days to just wander without plans. No schedules, no alarms. Just me, my thoughts, and the open road. I danced in the rain in Prague, watched the sunrise over the Danube, and wrote pages and pages in my journal that probably won't make sense to anyone but me. And maybe that's okay. Some things are just meant to be felt, not explained. Traveling alone can be lonely sometimes, I won't lie. There were nights when I missed home, missed familiar voices, missed the comfort of your laughter. But in those moments, I also discovered parts of myself I didn't know existed. Courage, for one, and the quiet confidence that I can be okay on my own. That's a kind of freedom I didn't expect, but deeply needed. If there's one thing this journey has taught me, it's that the world is vast, yes, but also so connected. A smile can cross borders, music can transcend language, and food, oh, don't get me started on food, can bring people together like magic. I've learned to say thank you in 6 different languages, and I've learned that sometimes the best memories come from the unplanned, the imperfect, the moments that go off script. I wish you could have seen the stars in the desert sky, or felt the warm breeze off the Mediterranean coast. I wish we could have shared those long train rides and spontaneous detours. But even though you're not here, I carry your presence in every step. You'd laugh at how many times I got lost. You'd cry at how beautiful some of these sunsets were. And you'd definitely be proud of how I've grown. When I come home, I'll bring souvenirs, of course, but more than that, I'll bring stories. I'll tell you about the woman in Barcelona who sang opera in the street, about the little boy in Athens who shared his candy with me at a bus stop, about the time I missed my flight but found a quiet joy in the unexpected pause. These moments, they're treasures, and I can't wait to share them with you over tea, or maybe wine, depending on the story. Until then, know that I'm safe, I'm happy, and I'm deeply grateful for this journey, for the world, and for you. Thank you for encouraging me to go, for believing in the magic of travel, and for always being a home I can return to. Thanks for stopping by. This channel is all about helping you boost your English listening skills every day. Let's grow together.
Welcome to my channel, your go-to place for improving your English listening skills in a fun and effective way. Let's make learning English easier, one step at a time. I'm writing this to you with sandy feet and sun-kissed skin, sitting under a swaying palm tree with the sound of waves just a few steps away. I've lost all sense of time here, and I mean that in the best possible way. The island life has this magical ability to make you forget what day it is. And somehow, that's exactly what I needed. I came to this little island in southern Thailand on a whim. I was supposed to visit the big city, check off famous landmarks, and do the must-sees. But something about the noise and crowds made me change direction. I booked a ferry to an island I'd barely heard of, packed a small bag, and followed nothing but a gut feeling. It turned out to be the best decision of the whole trip. There's not much here, just a few huts, some beach bars, and locals who smile at you like they've known you forever. No giant resorts, no loud parties, no tight schedules. Just the ocean, the breeze, and a rhythm that feels like a slow heartbeat. Every morning, I wake up to the sound of birds and soft waves. I eat breakfast barefoot in a hammock, usually fresh fruit and sticky rice. I spend hours reading, journaling, swimming, and sometimes just doing nothing. And you know what? It feels amazing. The other day, I joined a group of strangers for a boat trip around the island. We snorkeled in crystal clear water, saw fish that looked like they were painted by a child with a box of neon crayons, and even swam near a quiet reef where sea turtles glide by like underwater ballerinas. At one point, we turned off the engine and just floated in silence, surrounded by water, sky, and our own breath. I felt so small, so free, so alive. Nights here are just as magical. No city lights, no honking horns, just stars. Millions of them. I lie on the sand and stare at the sky until my neck hurts. The locals say the stars tell stories. I don't know if that's true, but I believe them anyway. One evening, I joined a beach bonfire with people from all over the world. We sat around flames, shared songs in different languages, and passed around grilled corn and coconut rum. We laughed about the things we got wrong, traded stories about our homes, and made plans we probably won't keep. But that's okay. Some friendships aren't meant to last forever. Some are just meant to remind you that you're never truly alone. This place reminded me of the beauty of slowing down, of disconnecting from Wi-Fi and reconnecting with the moment. I used to feel guilty doing nothing, like I always had to be achieving something. But here I've learned that rest is productive, that joy, peace, and stillness are not luxuries. They're necessities. I thought I came here to explore, but in truth, I think I came here to heal. And you, my dear friend, were on my mind through it all. I imagined you here with me, walking barefoot on the beach, collecting shells, laughing over coconut pancakes. I imagined us watching the sunset in silence, not needing to say anything because some moments speak for themselves. I'll come home soon, with salty hair, sunburnt shoulders, and a heart that's a little softer than when I left. I'll tell you about the beach dog who followed me for 3 days, about the local boy who gave me handmade bracelets as a goodbye gift, about how sometimes the most unforgettable adventures come from places we never planned to be. Until then, I'm sending you sunshine, sea breeze, and a quiet kind of happiness I hope you'll feel in your heart. Thanks for stopping by. This channel is all about helping you boost your English listening skills every day. Let's grow together.
Welcome to my channel, your go-to place for improving your English listening skills in a fun and effective way. Let's make learning English easier, one step at a time. As I sit here by the window of a quiet train, gliding through rice fields and sleepy villages, I finally found a moment to write to you. My heart is full, my backpack is heavy, probably too many souvenirs, and my mind is spinning with everything I've seen, felt, and discovered in the past few weeks. I needed to share it with someone who would understand not just the logistics of travel, but the soul of it. This journey started as an escape. I needed a break from routine, from endless notifications, from feeling like every day was just a copy of the one before. I booked a one-way ticket to somewhere I couldn't pronounce properly and packed light. Except for my camera and a notebook, of course. The first few days were messy. I got lost more times than I care to admit. I missed a bus, spilled curry on my shirt, and even forgot my passport at a hostel once. But slowly, I learned to laugh at those moments. They weren't mistakes, they were stories in the making. One of the most powerful moments happened on a hike in northern Vietnam. I joined a small group tour, mostly strangers from different corners of the world. As we climbed higher into the misty hills, something shifted in me. Maybe it was the silence. Just the wind in the trees, the sound of our boots on the trail, and the occasional shared laugh between new friends. Or maybe it was watching the local guide, a woman younger than us, walk with so much grace and strength, guiding us through paths she knew by heart. That day, I remembered what it feels like to be present. Really present. No screens, no rush. Just one foot in front of the other. In another city, I took a local cooking class. We weren't just learning recipes, we were learning stories. The old man who taught us how to wrap spring rolls spoke of the dishes his grandmother made during the war. He said food is memory, and I felt that deeply. As I mixed spices and tasted things I'd never tried before, I thought of home. And how every dish my mum makes has a story too. But it hasn't all been picture perfect. There were lonely nights, days when I doubted why I came. I missed familiar voices. I missed having someone to share morning coffee with. But those moments taught me something too. How to sit with myself. How to be okay in silence. How to appreciate my own company. That's a kind of strength I didn't know I was missing. You know what surprised me most? How generous people are. A street vendor who offered me free fruit when he saw I looked tired. A woman on the train who shared her umbrella and her smile. A little girl who taught me a hand-clapping game, even though we didn't speak the same language. These moments reminded me that the world, despite everything, is still full of kindness. I've been journaling a lot, sometimes just scribbles, sometimes full-on letters I'll never send. But if I had to sum up what this trip has meant, I'd say it's been a return to curiosity. I feel like a child again, wide-eyed and eager. Every sound, every smell, every sunrise feels like a miracle when you're really paying attention. I visited temples and markets, climbed hills and wandered alleys. But more than the places I saw, it's the feelings I'll carry with me. The moments when strangers became friends. When I cried unexpectedly at a beautiful piece of street music. When I danced barefoot under fairy lights at a beach bar, just happy to be alive. I know when I come home, everything will look the same. But I won't be. Travel has a funny way of changing you without you noticing. It softens the edges, stretches the heart, and opens your mind in ways you didn't know were possible. So, my friend, if you're ever feeling stuck, tired, or unsure of who you are, pack a bag. Go somewhere unfamiliar. You don't have to go far. Sometimes a change of scenery is all it takes to change your perspective. Let the world surprise you. Thank you for being someone I can share this with. I wish you were here for the night markets, the morning coffees, the long conversations with strangers under the stars. But in a way, you are. Because every time something beautiful happens, I think, I can't wait to tell guys about this. Until we meet again, on a train, on a mountaintop, or just over coffee, know that I'm carrying these memories in my heart and saving a seat for you on the next adventure. Thanks for stopping by. This channel is all about helping you boost your English listening skills every day. Let's grow together.
As I write this, the sun is slowly dipping behind the red rooftops of Prague, casting long golden shadows over the cobbled streets. I'm sitting by the window of a tiny bookshop cafe, half reading, half people watching, and fully falling in love with this city. I never planned to come to Prague. It was one of those spontaneous decisions. Booked late at night after a long day when I felt the itch to go somewhere old, somewhere quiet, somewhere I could just breathe. And this city has been exactly that. Quiet but not silent. Old but not tired. Beautiful but not in a way that demands attention. It whispers instead of shouting. And that's what makes it unforgettable. I arrived on a rainy morning. The streets were glistening and people moved slowly under umbrellas. I walked with no direction, letting the city lead me. I wandered into churches with ceilings so high it made me dizzy, watched the astronomical clock chime with curious strangers, and crossed Charles Bridge at sunrise when the world was still stretching awake. One of my favorite moments happened by accident. I got lost again and ended up in a small courtyard where a violinist was playing under a vine-covered archway. There were only a few of us listening. No clapping, no crowds, just music floating gently in the air. I closed my eyes and for a minute, everything felt still. I thought of you in that moment. You'd love the sound, the atmosphere, The way music here feels like part of the air. I've been moving slowly this trip. No rush. I spend whole afternoons in quiet museums and tiny parks. I write a lot. Not because I have something profound to say, but because this city makes me reflect. I think it's the way the past lives so comfortably with the present here. You can feel the weight of history in every stone, yet the people live lightly, laughing, drinking coffee, feeding pigeons. I met an old woman at a bakery who insisted I try her homemade plum cake. We didn't share a language, but somehow we still had a conversation, with hand gestures, smiles, and bits of laughter. She reminded me of my grandmother, her warmth, her quiet strength. It's funny how far from home you can suddenly feel close to it.
Traveling alone has been challenging in ways I didn't expect. There are moments when I want to turn to someone and say, "Did you see that?" or share an inside joke. But I've also come to appreciate the silence. I've learned to sit with my thoughts without distraction, to eat alone without awkwardness, and to find comfort in my own company. I feel stronger, maybe not louder, but more grounded. There's a word in Czech I learned, tiši, which means quiet. Not silent, not empty, just quiet. And that's how this trip has felt. A quiet kind of joy. A quiet kind of discovery. A quiet kind of healing. Tomorrow I'll take the train to Vienna, a new city, new faces, new stories. But Prague will stay with me, the way the river reflects the city lights at night, the sound of footsteps echoing in narrow alleys, the feeling of finding something beautiful when you weren't even looking for it. Thank you for always being someone I want to share these moments with. I think of you often, especially when I see something beautiful or strange or unexpectedly kind. I hope one day we'll walk these streets together. I'll show you the hidden staircase behind the castle, the cafe with the best apple strudel, and the bench where I sat and watched the world drift by. Until then, I'm sending you this postcard, not just as a souvenir, but as a piece of peace. I hope you're taking care of yourself, and I hope you find a little bit of Prague in your own days, whether in a quiet coffee, a moment of stillness, or the simple joy of getting lost.